Are you a current or future physician assistant wanting to learn more about finances? Then join me on this journey to become a PA the FI way. Hi, my name is Kat, and I'm a practicing certified physician assistant who will be your host. It took me 5 years after I started practicing medicine as a PA to thoroughly dive into my personal finances after I discovered the concept of financial independence. I want to use what I have learned to help you avoid some of the financial mistakes that I have made while sharing some of the financial wins that I have had along the way. Join me as we discuss financial strategies to guide you to becoming a physician assistant on the way to financial independence. Welcome back to the PA the FI Way podcast. This is Kat, and thank you so much for taking time out of your day to learn how to enrich your life, both financially, but also in other areas as well, so you can really live life on your own terms and be empowered to pursue the goals that you have in all areas. Earlier this week, I returned from an overseas trip that was about 2.5 weeks with family members, and with that trip, I just could not fit in a podcast that was supposed to air 2 weeks ago. So you might have noticed there was a bit of a gap between this episode and last episode. This episode was inspired by a couple of things. The first was this recent trip where we actually met with a Swedish extended family member who married a Spaniard. So we met up with them in the Madrid area of Spain. Then we hopped on a train to Barcelona, were there for a few days, then hopped on a cruise ship and visited Spain, France, and Italy before returning home. And then the second thing that inspired this episode was another PA sharing about how she tries to travel overseas every few months and use up all of her PTO because she feels as though traveling and time off really helps her reset and helps with her mental energy and helps prevent burnout for her. So she is a huge advocate of using all your PTO. And I was reflecting back, and I have definitely been an advocate about using up all time off and all PTO. Over the years, I have had brief stints of having a salary role while building up a patient panel. And during that time, I would have PTO, but generally I would be given an allotted amount of time off that was not necessarily paid because my overall compensation was based on RVUs and that was back in family medicine. And then currently in my independent contractor role or a 1099 role in psychiatry, I also do not have PTO because in a 1099 role, you don't have any benefits. And PTO is considered a benefit. However, in my current role, I have a lot of flexibility and autonomy, so I am able to take time off when I choose to. And so I was able to take this extended trip, and I had done a similar extended trip about 7 years ago to Scandinavia. And at the time, my employer kind of bucked at the idea, and they said, oh, well, generally, people don't take more than 2 weeks off. And again, it was right around 2.5 weeks off. And I was new at that clinic, so my patient panel was not very high. And I kept thinking to myself, what is another few days? The world is not going to burn down. Also, I have an allotted amount of time that I can take. It was not over the allotted amount of time for the year. So why would it matter if I take 2.5 weeks versus 2 weeks of time off for this vacation? And mentally, I was like, that's interesting that they're bucking at this and that they had to talk about it and consider it and think about it before approving it. And that was actually a really great clinic to work at, but it was definitely a red flag about how being an employee really can limit your options and really can tie you down and not really allow you to have the freedom and flexibility to be able to do the things in life that you feel like you want to do and need to do at times. So that trip, we visited the same Swedish extended family member in Sweden and then Scandinavia. Got to see where my great-grandfather was born. Again, traveled with my mom and other family members. So I just really recognized that life is so short. My dad had recently passed away, and other loved ones had different types of medical issues as well. And so it was like, well, I'm going to be traveling. And I felt like it was a priority to be able to go on these types of family trips. And back when I had allotted amount of hours to use for PTO, or whether I had allotted amount of days off to use for time off, for CME, anything like that, I use every single day and every single hour. And I have always been that way. Even if I had the roles where my time off was technically not paid, it was unpaid time off because, again, the days that I was working, I'd be earning RVUs and my paychecks would be based on a draw. So then I would still have a base pay based on that draw. It's kind of complicated to explain that type of compensation model if you're not very familiar with it. But even though I was not earning money on those days, and same with this recent trip, I value the time off, whether it's PTO and paid technically or whether it's unpaid. I have always seen and understood the value of needing to step away at times and not hustling and working and grinding every single day and burning myself out in the process. I say all of that to say that I want to use this episode to encourage you to shift your mindset towards that if you do not have that mentality already. And I want to share with you some benefits of taking your PTO. First, let's talk about the fact that almost 50%, so it's about 46% of US workers who receive PTO from their employer take less time than they are actually offered. That is crazy to me that almost half of American workers don't use all of their PTO. Also, women usually use less of their PTO than men do. And there can be all sorts of potential reasons about it, but some of the potential reasons could be things like guilt. Women might feel more guilt about it. Women might have less sense of comfort or confidence to be able to use their PTO due to imposter syndrome or feeling inadequate. Women might feel the pressure of not wanting to fall behind in their workplace. The fact that they could potentially have some hybrid positions and be able to work from home. They're multitasking. Maybe that's why they're not using it. There's lots of different reasons for that. And many PAs are women. And I just really want to speak to you and encourage you to use your PTO. But let's talk about the reasons why. Why is it important that you actually use your PTO? There are 5 main categories of benefits to using your PTO that I want to share with you today. And each category has different subcategories of benefits within them. So this list definitely is not all inclusive, but it's a good way to break it down. Before I talk about my favorite benefits that actually more so impact you and help with your wellness overall, let's talk about the first category of how you using your PTO actually helps with your organization overall. And if you receive any flack about wanting to use your PTO, you could potentially use this information and share it with your HR manager, your office manager, your supervising physician, your collaborating physician, and share with them, hey, it actually benefits you if I take time off. So one of the reasons is employee retention. So you would very likely have a higher job satisfaction if you use your PTO, and that leads you to likely stay at your job longer. We all know that replacing you as a PA or other healthcare provider actually costs the workplace lots of money. It costs over 6 figures often to actually replace a provider. So it's nice when you are actually satisfied with your job and want to stay there. You also might be more loyal to your company as well. When you use your PTO, you likely have a more positive work environment, especially if your company is encouraging you to use your PTO. They can create a healthy culture in that case. If you use your PTO, you likely will call in less for illnesses or due to burnout, so it doesn't leave your organization high and dry. When many members within the workplace utilize their PTO, it encourages a supportive environment where colleagues respect and understand the importance of taking time off and resting, and not cultivating an environment where no one utilizes their PTO and you feel guilty for using it. Now let's talk about the second overall category of benefits for utilizing PTO, and that's financial benefits. So PTO is part of your compensation package. Make sure that you are optimizing and maximizing your compensation package to its fullest. If you get paid the same amount, whether you show up to work or not, why would you not take your PTO? Also, if you don't use your PTO, many places make you lose your PTO. So ensure that you are optimizing it by using it year to year, or check on the rollover policy if needed. Another financial benefit is that using PTO actually helps with healthcare savings and helps reduce medical costs. And that's because using PTO can help you get rest in, rejuvenate, reduce your stress. And we all know that having higher rest and less stress helps to have you have fewer health issues, whether it's mental health issues, physical health issues, or both. And that can help reduce medical costs overall. The third reason why using PTO is super important is that it helps with overall personal growth and fulfillment. So what does this mean? Well, maybe you utilize your PTO by creating a sense of purpose and fulfillment by helping to support your loved ones or care for them if needed. For example, if you have a family member that's going through some things, you need to be there to support them, or maybe they're sick, or maybe you or a loved one or a friend had a newborn and you are trying to support them as well. Many times people use PTO for part of their maternity leave or paternity leave as well. PTO also can help with allowing you to have the time and space for travel and exploring the world. You can have new experiences. You can revisit places that you've been, that you've enjoyed. That's kind of your resting place and your place of relaxation. When you visit new places, you're broadening your horizon. You can get exposure to different cultures and environments, and that can enhance your personal growth overall. Also, PTO can help you have time and the space and mental bandwidth for self-discovery and time to reflect on yourself, your goals in life, your future aspirations. How are things going with the relationships in your life or other areas in your life as well? When you are go, go, go all the time, you don't have any time to be able to think and self-reflect. The fourth benefit category is professional benefit. So taking PTO actually can help you have an increased level of productivity when you are working. When you have had the time to rest and refresh yourself, you can return to work being more focused, creative, efficient, and it can help you with your overall work performance and the quality of work that you produce. You also could have more creativity, innovation, a fresh sense of perspective, where you can be more inspired by taking time away, or maybe you get ideas that are flowing based on that time away as well. And taking time off certainly helps with preventing burnout in your role, so you can be more engaged and more motivated when you're working. You could also use PTO to enhance and develop your skills. So maybe you work on courses, workshops, other types of self-improvement as well. And the fifth overall category of PTO having a benefit is that it benefits your personal well-being. Utilizing PTO helps with your mental health. It helps reduce your stress, helps improve your mood, helps you be able to relax, which can often help lessen overall anxiety levels. Utilizing your PTO can also help you with your mental clarity and focus. And you can also notice improvement with your physical health. You can often get better sleep when you are taking time off and having lower anxiety and worries about work, less insomnia overall if you struggle with insomnia. Often you can be more physically active during PTO because you have more time or are traveling or visiting areas where you're more active. Maybe you're swimming more, maybe you're going to the gym more, or maybe you're hiking around in nature or walking around all of these cities that you're visiting and getting more activity in that way. Your physical health can improve as well by reducing chronic illnesses. So your blood pressure can lower, and you could have lower risk of heart issues when you have more relaxation throughout your life as well. You also can have more social connections during your PTO. Again, whether it's with friends, family, other loved ones, or even new people that you meet. Networking and forming connections and stronger relationships can help with your overall health. Obviously, utilizing your PTO also helps with work-life balance. So life is not all about work, but it really is also about enjoying life. It's important that you work to live, not live to work. Really prioritize the time outside of work and use it to, again, strengthen those relationships, spend time with your loved ones, engage in hobbies, travel, try new activities, and see if you enjoy them and see if they bring you joy and a sense of fulfillment and purpose. And finally, utilizing PTO can help increase your life satisfaction and your overall happiness because it really allows you to do the things that you enjoy and that you love doing, which can help you with your satisfaction. So whether you are a true workaholic or whether you have been short-staffed at work and that's the reason why you feel like you can't take PTO, whether you feel like you have a sense of guilt for your coworkers being gone, any of those roadblocks of why you feel like you can't take your PTO, remind yourself of all of these benefits and really the importance of how taking your PTO or your time off is absolutely necessary. I want to remind you that you are not a machine. You are not in this world to only work and produce for your employer. It's important that you find a sense of purpose, not only within your role in healthcare, but also outside of your role in healthcare. And take the time to rest, experience new things, and really truly enjoy this one life that you have. Now, the next question is, how are you going to use your PTO? I appreciate you taking the time to listen today. I hope you found the information helpful and motivating and inspiring for you to use your PTO as well. And I will see you back here soon. Take care. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you decide to continue to join me along this journey of becoming a PA the FI way. Please take a moment to press the subscribe button on the platform that you are listening to this on, but more importantly, consider sharing with another current or future PA that could benefit from the information that we reviewed in this episode. Take care and have a great rest of your day. Until next time.